Hey guys, this is Nathan from RunDreamAchieve.com. Hope you all are having a great week of training. Today's topic, I wanted to go over how many miles a week should you run for marathon training. I often get asked this, over the years I've been asked this question numerous times. And in terms of marathon training, you always have to be thinking about leverage. Leverage simply means doing more with less. Don't get so caught up in how many miles or how many kilometers a week you're running. Focus first on your plan of action. How many weeks are you planning on preparing for your marathon? In my opinion, I think running anywhere from a minimum of 12 weeks and preferably 20 weeks for your marathon build-up is going to set you up for success. You don't want to rush your fitness. It's very, very difficult to get in great marathon shape in a matter of like 8 weeks. There are athletes out there that obviously can build a great deal of legitimate fitness in that amount of time, but I think in terms of marathon success, you don't want to be in a rush. And I really think when you're training for your marathon, if you really want to start dropping significant time off of your marathon time, think more long term. Again, the longer you build up for your training, the less of a rush you'll be in getting in that great anaerobic shape. Over the years of my own marathon training, I've gotten up to as high as 142 miles a week. All that did was leave me fatigued, frustrated, and tired. I was running, an average of about 20 miles a day at my very highest, and I set my personal best of 2:19:35 for the marathon off of 85 to 90 miles a week when I was training in Colorado Springs. So again, it's not about the volume. You can go and test yourself and say, okay, I did 100 miles a week, or I did 50 miles or 40 miles a week for 6 to 8 to 16 to 20 weeks straight, and find out what you're capable of. But I think overall, you always want to be focusing on quality training over volume. So many runners, I made the same mistake myself. After I broke 220 for the marathon, I thought that going up to 140 miles plus a week would get me to that point where I could go under my next goal that I had at that time, which was breaking 2 hours and 15 minutes for the marathon. And like I said, it just left me tired. So think about leverage. How can I work smarter rather than harder? Why are there athletes out there that are running 50% less mileage than me, that are getting their goals and are running much, much faster than me? And here I am running 50% more and having a really difficult time running the type of marathon time that I'm training for. These are the frustrations that a lot of athletes out there have. Maybe you're one of them. I certainly dealt with that over the years too. I tinkered around with different types of mileage, but at the end of the day, the thing that really made the difference for me was looking at my training over a long period of time and finding out what, like I talk about in other videos, what percentage of that weekly volume was I doing. Was I training at or below goal marathon race pace? If that percentage, if you go back and you look at your training logs, if that percentage is too low, then you have to start making some adjustments. You're not going to run faster over the marathon distance by just running long, slow, easy long runs every single weekend, like I talk about in other videos. You have to start mixing up your paces, and you also have to pay attention to recovery, because there's only so many times you can continue to push the body before you start to get diminished returns on your investment. So you have to be smart about your training. You have to pay attention to the other fundamentals that go into running a very, very fast marathon time. In terms of how many miles a week should you run during marathon training, for some athletes out there, you can get legitimate results off of 30 or 40 miles a week. For other athletes, they may have to, that may not have as much talent as some other athletes, genetic talent. Sometimes you have to work a little bit harder, in order to get the similar types of results that these other athletes that obviously have a high capability of clearing lactic acid and being able to run at very fast paces, which with minimal amounts of lactic acid buildup. I wasn't one of those athletes. I had to really pay attention to all of the little things that go into running a great marathon time. Proper sleep, proper nutrition, practicing drinking during your long runs, taking in more fluid and seeing how much fluid your stomach can take, so that you don't make the mistake of drinking too much in the race, because you've practiced that over and over and over again during your training. So it's not about the volume of mileage you're doing. It's about the quality of the work. We hear it all the time, quality over quantity. And some athletes, it just takes a longer period of time for you guys and gals to get it straight, because I'm speaking from experience. I dealt with the same type of bullheadedness. I was thinking that, all I need to do is start running 120, 130, 140 mile weeks, and I'll be able to better that 219.35 I ran. No, and even that, it's really about how you're setting up your training, how long your training block is, so you're not rushing your fitness. Again, it takes about 4 weeks for your body to adapt to any stress load that you're placing on it. So it's gonna take some time. It's not an overnight process to run a great marathon time. Proper pacing in the race and practicing this in training, not going out too fast in that first half, running a negative split if you can. Sometimes you're going to go out a lot faster that first half, and you're going to come back a little bit slower. When I ran 219.35, I went out in 107.09 through the first half marathon, and I came back with a 112.26. There's some athletes out there that might go out the first half, 10 minutes slower and run 10 to 15 minutes faster in the second half. So if you're going to go out aggressive like that like I did, be prepared to handle extreme pain in that second half, and make sure, if you have the confidence, and I did at that time, if you have the confidence to go out aggressively, then just make sure that you're doing your homework in training. Make sure that you're doing faster, varied pace long runs every other week. You're not just running long, slow, and easy. Again, don't get caught up in the volume. The training plans on RunDreamAchieve.com that I've created are not overly aggressive in terms of volume. They hover around 70 to 80 miles at the highest for marathoners. Sure, if there's athletes out there that are trying to break a 2:30 or trying to run under 3 hours, or maybe trying to break a 2:20 marathon, if you want to run a few extra miles during your easy days, instead of if the training plan has an AM workout, and you want to run a few extra miles in the PM, by all means you can do that. But just make sure that you're jogging on recovery days, so that, again, you allot that sufficient time for your body to adapt to the hard anaerobic workouts you're doing. Those faster, varied pace long runs I talk about, it's not uncommon for me personally. I needed anywhere from 2 to 3 days to recover from that particular type of effort. The long run was the most difficult workout I did. It wasn't speed training, it wasn't hill workouts, it wasn't fartlek workouts. It was that varied pace long run, because there were times where I'd go drop a sub 5 minute mile every fourth mile during a long run, and then go right back into like 5:30 to 6 minute mile pace, and this was at 6,000 feet. So again, and then there was jogging sections. There were 7 minute, 7:30 mile pace thrown in there as well. So it's a mixture of aerobic and anaerobic workouts, intensities during that varied pace long run. Always follow the long run, the varied pace long run, the following week with an easy, relaxed long run. This is exactly how I teach in the running courses and in the training plans that are on RunDreamAchieve.com. We set that up to go into, eventually start dropping volume, start dropping intensity, so that you go into that 10-day taper I talk about. You don't start dropping volume and intensity 3 weeks out from your main marathon. Do a 10-day taper. Continue to remind your legs of what you're training them to do. 10 days is sufficient time for your body to adapt, for your body to recover and rest, and so that you can go into that goal marathon that you have fully rested, energized and motivated, rather than feeling fatigued and tired and concerned, like, did I start dropping my volume and my intensity too far out? You won't have that feeling when you do a 10-day taper. I really believe that athletes that introduce this particular type of taper will get some legitimate results, and they already have. A lot of athletes that I've consulted here on the channel, as well as on RunDreamAchieve.com, or have invested in a training plan or a running course, have made some significant gains. An example of that was Eric Hogg had a personal best of 3 hours and 46 minutes for the marathon, ended up running 2:58. So he dropped 48 minutes off his marathon time. So it's just an example. Again, we're focusing on quality over quantity. So don't get caught up with how much mileage you need to be running each week. Invest in yourself. Getting a training plan or running course takes the guesswork out of what types of workouts you need to be doing. Also, I do coach online as well via the v.o2.com platform. So I really believe that that is a huge incentive for athletes that want to take their current fitness, get their VDOT scores based off of Dr. Jack Daniels' philosophy. And as you get fitter, as you race faster, your VDOT scores are updated. And I think that is a huge resource as well that's there for you. So if you're interested in online coaching and you want to work with me on a monthly basis, definitely check RunDreamAchieve.com out. So if there's anything else I can help you all out with the marathon or any other distance or mindset or whatever else you have in mind, anything that's bothering you, feel free to reach out to me. Leave me a comment below any of the videos. Like this and share this video if you can. I really appreciate that. It helps the channel grow. More athletes around the world to see these videos. Hit that bell icon and the subscribe button so when I make new videos, also you'll be able to get notified of new videos. So I wish you all the best, and I will talk to you all in the next video.